having a hard time. I think like my depression has struck again. When I feel like this, it's like, it makes sense that I feel like this because I am going through a lot of changes and I'm so young still and there's so much for me to learn. And like through change like comes, you know, a lot of just letting go and death of old self, and it feels like depression. And like a lot of times, you know, they're like, oh, depression's uncontrollable. It is uncontrollable in a sense that like I can't really fight the parts of me that are dying because I need them to die in order to like grow and become the next most lively version of myself. I feel so tired and depressed and like, you know, I'm losing and shedding so much. When you like, all that's all you see because you can't like even like gain or take like the new stuff until you lose the old stuff. But yeah, like I've been having a lot of dreams, and you know, every night I wake up and I'm like scared. I'm like, that was so bizarre. But the more that I pay attention to my dreams, the more they make sense. And the more that I can like see what I need to work on, and just getting all this knowledge and having all these things leave me, and like it could be a lot, and I just feel very overwhelmed right now. Like I know that I want to like work harder on my purpose, and I want to like put it together, and I want to talk about it. I want to do my YouTube, and like I actually am thinking, I've already decided I'm gonna start another channel that deals more with my work life, the work life that has been existent for like the last 4 years as an exotic dancer. And you know, I just opened my website and got an LLC for it, for my dancing, and you know, it's a lot like to. And I've been having a lot of imposter syndrome in a sense that like I've officialized these things and I've opened portals for me to keep working on them. And I feel like I did something wrong. Like I shouldn't be doing any of this. I should be being more realistic. And it's really hard to feel like that because you feel like everything that one day you feel so confident in, like everything is gonna work out, and like you feel like everything's working out for me. And then you just hit this phase of like you feel almost kind of like hungover from it, like, oh my God, what did I do? And it's really terrifying. And it's like every area of your life. It doesn't matter if it's a relationship, a project, something you're working on, like parts of your trauma that you're letting go. It's just been really difficult for me to transition. And like, as much as I like to say that I like can adapt quickly, and like as much as other people can vouch for me that I just don't show like half the stuff that's going on with me, I just don't really show it unless you're really, really personal, like I live with you or you're my family. But it's like I feel it so deeply, and it does affect me. Like today I already slept 8 hours and I just like could not stop sleeping. Like I couldn't, like, and it's to the point where I like open my eyes and I'm awake, and it's just like my body feels like dead weight. Like I am so exhausted, and like I'm just looking for any bit of motivation on my phone to just get me out of bed and get me working on the things that I know deep down that I love so much. I just have to get over my insecurities, my demons. I have to get over the self-sabotage. I have to realize that I am going through a spiritual death, and like a death of self, where all those things that I was letting control my life and hurt me, I just let go so much. Like I just like, you know, removed a friend of 4 or 5 years. And it is because I was being mistreated. I was being manipulated and lied to, and, you know, emotionally abused. And I hate to think that about anyone that I love. Like, and I'm going to eventually talk about how my life has gone and what I've been through and the childhood experiences I've had. But this friendship was mimicking a lot of those things that I went through, and it was really hard to like let this person go, because you never want to look at somebody that you love or is a big part of your life and be like, you're hurting me so bad, and you like just don't care. No matter how I try to explain this to you, you just don't care. And I can't sit here and accept you anymore. I can accept you, but I cannot have you anymore, and just let it go. And then like the same with a work environment for me. It has become so toxic to the point where I'm not even making what I need to make to support myself, and on top of it, I'm being mentally and verbally abused. It's a lot to keep in. It's like when you have so much confidence and faith in yourself, and then like everything starts falling apart around you, even though you know deep down it's for your best self, it hurts so bad. I have a bad habit of saying to myself, oh, you should be over it already. Like when I got my wisdom teeth out recently, I was like, oh my God, why is this taking so long? Like the healing process, like I should feel fine. Like I can handle this. Like I should be better right now. I shouldn't be still in so much pain and letting the pain take over. And you know, a loved one of mine said, you just had a major surgery. You know, and like they kept telling me, you've had a major surgery. Like, why are you, you know, being so hard on yourself? Like that is such a hard experience to go through. And like, you're sitting here being hard on yourself. Like, why am I not better? And, you know, I started to realize that a lot of my areas of my life are like that. Like I'm losing a friend, or I'm going through like a traumatic experience of separation, like separating myself from something that used to be so part of me. And it's traumatic. It's like a major surgery, but of the soul. Like it really makes you feel like you're losing a body part. Like, and you know, just the fact that I have to tell myself that just the fact that I can even be aware enough to know, like, I love this person so much, but they're so not good for me, and they're hurting me so bad, and it is causing my same trauma cycles to go over and over again. The fact that I can even be aware to see that, let alone act out of my highest self and not my feelings, and be like, I love you, but I cannot handle this anymore. Like, just to be able to let that go, despite how strongly I feel about this person, like in my heart. But my heart was sick. Like when I'm around people like that and like places like that, my heart gets sick. And I think that in ways I was depressed and anxious for a long time, and all these things and people have been causing panic attacks, and I'm finally relieving myself of the duty of being responsible for these places and people. And, you know, it's freeing up a lot of time and energy for me, but it's also exhausting going through the mental process of just like letting it go and taking my power back and like having doubts, but then taking my power back. And it's like a repetitive cycle. And, you know, it's been very hard on my mind and my heart, because like I always, out of my trauma, I always wanted to be the person that was there for people and people could rely on and trust, because deep down I've never had that kind of reliability in my life. So I think I was acting out of my trauma. Like I didn't have boundaries, and I people pleased, because my whole life I was used. I was used for other people's personal gain. I was not allowed to be myself, and I just had to be what everyone else wanted me to be. And I think that made me feel loved and useful, because I wasn't taught what real love felt like. I wasn't really loved. Like I wasn't accepted for who I was, and like allowed to be free. Like I had to be what other people expected, or I would be abused. And it's really awful, because like I grew up really just fitting people's form to keep the peace. Like I would be a people pleaser. So I could be useful to somebody and feel that love. Like, that's how I felt loved. And then I would also not stand up for myself and keep boundaries and almost be so hyper vigilant to how other people feel and try to act based on how that person's feeling. So I don't experience conflict. So I don't experience that contrast because I was afraid of being hurt physically, mentally, or spiritually, just like harmed. I think that I didn't know I was doing this for so long. And the fact that I got into a point where I was like, this is not me. This is me acting out of fear and survival to keep people around me at peace and happy. And, you know, so I don't have to feel pain anymore. I don't have to experience that trauma again. But in doing that, I was putting myself through the same trauma because I was acting out of the trauma. I was being that person that I always needed for everyone else, but I needed me to be that person for me. And every time I would try to be that person for me, it was like everyone around me would be so offended, like would bully me, would mentally try to be manipulative to the point where they would make me feel like I was acting out or I was wrong. I was doing it because, you know, they did something wrong, but they didn't, and they would sit there and make me feel like a bad friend. Or I would tell people that I was working on myself and they would totally turn around on me and like talk badly about me to my other friends. And it's like, not only that, it's like anytime, you know, once again, I'm not trying to get into anything today about the overall like beginning to now of my life and the stuff that I've went through and how I've used it to turn my life around and always stay true to myself in different ways. Really the reason I came on here today was because I just woke up and I was feeling getting myself sucked down into like the depressive state, and I almost felt like I just can't control this, and I need to, if I want to get up and if I'm going to be the best version of myself, like I need to get up and I need to fight this. And so, you know, it got to the point where I'm on my phone and I know that doesn't work and I'm just scrolling. I'm looking for some sort of motivation because sometimes it does work for me. Sometimes I find a video, sometimes I find a person, and it just sparks that motivation that I can actually take that and run with, you know? But what I really feel like I was craving is connection. And just because I have cut off a lot of people that were very toxic or abusive towards me, like I don't really have a lot of people to call right now, you know? Like I can't figure out sometimes what's wrong until I like hear it or if I see it in front of me. And when I'm feeling depressive and anxious at the same time, it's hard for me to sit and journal. It's not always easy for me to sit and journal. So I was just like, this isn't like the kind I have an expectation for how I want my videos to be. But it's just, I think that video logging, like I have a lot of videos where I just sit and talk to myself, and it has helped me a lot when it comes to just me fighting like myself and not knowing where to start and like being scared and stuff. So I just thought I would lay it out and try to use this to my advantage to figure out where to start with myself. And you know, I think that just being honest with myself is all the motivation that I need sometimes, just like right now. And it's like I don't understand sometimes why it's so hard for me to just like unbury these things. I think it's just because there's so many little things, you know, that I'm aware of, like I pay attention to, and it's like things I can control and there's things I can't control. And the list of things that I can control, it gets a little heavy and long sometimes because it's like, okay, I can do this and I can do this, and in order for this to be okay, I can do this. And it's like I'm looking at all these things that I can do, and it's very great. I love that, and I'm so grateful that there's so much I can do myself to align myself with what I want. It just gets a little overwhelming, especially when you're going through that death of self, like, and you're working on changing who you are. And it's so funny because like as this is happening, it always happens when I decide to take my power back, when I decide to not let people treat me however anymore, and I decide to take care of myself. It's so funny because every time I take my power back and I'm going through like a death of self, there's always like 3 or 4 things that get thrown at me in the shape of my past, in the shape of things that I was never involved in, the shape of people that I never was close with. Like, people and things will come to me to almost test and see if I am really ready to move on from this part of myself. And it's really challenging. For example, over this last year, I've learned how to say no a lot. Like, it's been hard for me to say no. I think that this year I've really been so good at it, but it's still a struggle sometimes. But I'm finally getting to the point where I have just said no to some of the biggest parts of my identity and the people around me. I've finally said no, and now that part of me is ready to go away and to die. And it's crazy because as this is happening, I get approached with a few situations that really touch something deep in me, that are like, oh, like this person needs my help, or this person needs me to sacrifice something to help them, like something major. And it happens, I realize every time I go to evolve, this always happens, like something comes to test me, or like I still am attracting a little bit of that. And as I'm ready to move on, you know, I'm almost past the point of return with some of my behaviors and parts of me that I don't want around anymore. There's always a circumstance that asks of me something that my old self would give in on. And it's always a challenge because your old self is in the midst of dying, it's not completely gone yet. So that old self chimes in and is like, oh my God, we should like do something. Like, we can do something about this. Like, we care about people, right? Like, if we're like, that people pleaser comes up and is like, I want to do something about this. Like, oh, we have the capability, so why not? But at the end of the day, it's like, if it's something that you're just uncomfortable with, or if it's something that you're alone, just like, I don't feel like it, it doesn't resonate with me, it's going to compromise a part of myself that I'm not okay with, or it's going to put me in a position where this could affect my future, or it could affect my day, like, I'm allowed to say no. And it's so funny because every time that I like go to evolve, like, sometimes I've made the wrong decision and I've paid for it. And every time that I make the right decision, it doesn't just go away. There's like, it always goes out with a bang. Like, it's always like, I have to fight for my no. And I'm getting to the point where it's like, I don't want to fight for my no anymore. Like, it is no. Like, I am done serving people who don't care about me, that I don't know. I am done with people using me. I am done with people convincing me they've done nothing wrong when they have. I am done with people convincing me that there's nothing better. I am done with people convincing me that it's all in my head, that my feelings are invalid, that that my life and the things I want are unrealistic and stupid, or I'm not allowed to move on, or like my loyalty lies with a certain person, a certain idea, and a certain way of life. Like, my loyalty lies with myself. It doesn't lie with anybody or anything. It lies with myself. And like, as long as I'm loyal to myself, the person that I'm supposed to be with, the friends I'm supposed to be with, the occupation I'm supposed to be with, will stand behind me, because the person that, when I'm loyal to myself and I love myself, it would align with what is right for me. And you know, I'm doing this and it's so crazy because just like, people will see that and they will fight so hard to keep you down. And I've dealt with this my whole life. Like, there are people that literally see you standing up after repeatedly getting knocked down, and they will be the ones to hold you down, to have their foot on your head. And it's kind of sad. Like, you know, I'm very much a positive thinker. I used to be very, very pessimistic at a point. I've went through a lot of phases in my life, and there's been times I've always been an optimist to other people, but a pessimist to myself. And I've realized that now I'm growing into this person where like I am a realist, but I'm grateful. I'm real with myself, and I'm able to take that veil off and look at things for what they truly are, even if I don't like it. And it sucks because sometimes when you look at someone for who they are, or like a place or a circumstance for what it really is, it sucks. But being able to see that doesn't, like, if it's a bad thing, like, it doesn't make you a pessimist. It makes you, like, there are bad things in this world. There are things that aren't okay. There are things that happen that make you sad, or the repetitiveness of certain behavior in people is not healthy for you. And just being able to be real enough with yourself to realize that, but then recover from that with gratitude. I would consider myself a positive person in a sense to where I'm a realist, and being real with myself actually sails me towards better things. So my reality is better, and I don't have to be optimistic. Like, my reality is better. The way I recover is with gratitude. Like, I have so many things I'm losing, and everyone's like, oh, you're so positive, you're such a positive person, oh, you got it, you got this, you don't need any help, or what could you possibly be going through, you're so positive. I am not positive. I'm grateful. There are things when I am recovering, or if I'm in a moment where I need some inspiration, I am positive in a sense that I am grateful. I look at the things around me that I'm grateful for. Like when I look at this pineapple decoration, it makes me happy. Like, it is not even useful to me, like, in any way, but it is just beautiful to look at. Like, it makes me feel more comfortable in my home. Like, this is something that, you know, I was transitioning out of a really hard place in my life, and it was one of the moments where a lot of abuse was heightened, very heightened for me, and I felt the most lost and stuck that I've ever felt, and the most directionless. And one day I just sat down. I like to collect rocks, and this kid that is very important to me in my heart walked up to me, and he knows I like rocks, and he found this tile in the middle of nowhere and thought I might love it. And I just sat there and I used my nail polish to paint. I'm like, I don't know what to do right now. Like, I just started painting, and you may think it's just like some weird slab of rock with a really badly painted ocean on it, but this is something that in a moment of complete darkness, I lit my own world up, because I chose to look at this tile and be like, I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for my nail polish. And I created something that I now look at and I'm like, wow, like, I can create anything out of nothing. And another point that I've come to make, just because I can create anything out of nothing, and just because I am okay with the bare minimum, and just because I'm okay and I've lived through the worst, does not mean I deserve to stay there. And a lot of people just, like, that dismissal behavior of like, oh, you've done that before, oh, you've been through that before, everything's fine. And I've done that to myself, to where I'd be like, oh, you've dealt with that, like, you've dealt with this a million times, like, you're fine, you can handle it. Like, when I did that to myself, I had a bunch of people around me that, like, when I had a problem and I just really needed some compassion and some connection, some advice myself, and even though I have all the answers within me, sometimes I need a little reminder, you know? And I'm learning more how to, like, give that reminder to myself. But, you know, during these time periods, it's like, but it was always like, no, you got it. And it's like, just because I got it all the time, and like I could create things with nothing, and I can survive by myself, and I could do everything without anybody, doesn't mean I deserve to. I don't deserve to. I deserve to have all the support that I need and I want, and I deserve to feel loved, and I deserve to feel compassion. And yeah, it's just like me going through all this and realizing what I do truly deserve, and like what I needed to change within myself to receive that. And the thing, and also it's like, when you can look at yourself and be like, I don't like you right now, and I don't like this part of you, I accept you and I love you and I know why you are here, but I don't like this and it doesn't make me uncomfortable. I don't like the person I'm becoming because of this. So I need to dismiss this part of myself. I need to heal, and then I need to let it go, and I need to say goodbye to it. When you can do that to yourself, there's no person that will be allowed in your life that acts like that. They won't be allowed in your life. That's when I really realized, like, everybody that harms me and everybody who kind of makes me harm myself mentally, like, I'm around them, and like just being around them makes me not be loving to myself. It's like I'm allowed to dismiss those people. I'm allowed to tell them no. Just like every time I've ever helped any of those people, and when it came time for me to receive help or just a friend, it was like, no, I can't. You know what? Good for them. Good for them. They knew how to say no. But it's like, you know, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, I still needed somebody, and I still said yes to them when they needed help. So it was like, I've gotten to a point where it's like, okay, I don't have to sit here. You help these people, you're always there for these people, and they don't really realize that, like, they're actually not there for you, and they're very mean and very not good to you. And then when you decide to take your power back, they're like, oh, what did I do? Like, oh, what did I do wrong? You know what you did wrong. You just like are like, some of them don't and some of them do, and it's like you're so oblivious to yourself that it's not healthy for me to be around you anymore, you know. And it's a hard pill to swallow, all of this. It was really hard for me to wake up today. I have so many things around me that I love. I do have, even though it's a very few people, I have so much love around me, you know, even when it's not readily available to me. Like, I have so much love around me. And, you know, some days I do wake up and I have a lot to be grateful for, and it's still hard for me to get up, and it's still hard for me to go about my day. And usually at some point when I have a day like this, I usually get it together on my own, and I usually go, but I go and I kill my day. I go and I thrive in my day and I turn it around. But lately, I've been doing it every day. Every day I've had a streak of waking up feeling lifeless and horrible. And today was just a day that I woke up and I had no momentum. I couldn't just do what I've been doing the last day and the day before that and the day before that. And I don't know how long this has been going on. I think it's been going on for a good period of time, because I am changing and I'm letting go of a lot, and it takes a period of grieving and just settling into your new self and starting to familiarize yourself with the things you want out of yourself. It does take time, and today I just didn't really have the life in me to do it on my own. And something called me to do this, and it's not a video where I like to start my videos off smiling and, you know, being ready to just tell you guys what to do and how to do it and what's important and what to focus on and how to be motivated and how to have fun and how to let go and, you know, be there for yourself. And you know, and today I just like felt like I was called to show up in the midst of the storm myself and just kind of be real with what I'm going through and how I'm handling it, and show you that I'm not just like waking up every day looking at my things you can control sheet and being like, yes, these are all the answers, it's time to go. Like, sometimes it's deeper than it's hard, like, and you have to look at your circumstances and how you're healing and what you've been through personally and how that personally shaped you, and what is priority and what are you letting go of right now, and how bad did that hurt, and what are you moving towards, and how unfamiliar is that, and how uncomfortable is that, and like, how can you make yourself more comfortable? There's just so much more to healing than set in stone rules in a piece of paper. Those things are tools and they're very helpful. They pulled me out of a very dark place at certain times, but I still go through these things even to this day, and I am the person that I dreamed of being years ago. And even a year ago, I am the person that even a year ago, I could not compete with this part of myself, this version of myself. I was so enlightened, but there was so much I didn't know. And like, I'm probably gonna feel the same way in a year, and 2 years from now, 3 years. And, you know, so I just felt called to show up. I really just needed to talk. And recently my therapist kind of ghosted me, and I'll get into that in another time, but very unprofessional, and left me kind of to dry. And I really don't think I did anything wrong. It was a mix-up of misunderstanding, but I did everything right, and they just like stopped calling me and scheduling me. So it kind of sucks, you know, not having that, and then like losing friends and just changing and being a different person, and like having to go through that. It's a lot, and especially without a therapist, especially because the last year and a half I've dealt with a lot of things with therapists. So, you know, waking up and like needing to talk and needing to reflect and not having the energy. I barely had energy to get up, like, let alone journal. And I think that this helps me because I could just sit and I could just talk out loud like I'm talking to somebody. And for some reason, through me talking out loud and just being honest with myself and being honest and reflecting and talking back to myself, I come to a conclusion. That I come to a point where I understand more of myself, and I can see where the hurt places are, and I can see why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling and how I'm going to overcome it. And I kind of get back to aligning with who I am. And although I still feel very tired, and I do feel these things very deeply, I do feel better. And I do feel like I can get up right now, and I'm strong enough, and I've built momentum by just sitting here talking to you guys, that I can get up and actually go and get through my day like I wanted to when I first got up. I'm very grateful for that. And this is important also, just because I think with you guys even seeing this, I hope now you can see maybe why this channel has been something that's been important to me since I was little. And I'll get more into that at a later date, but this channel has been something I've wanted my whole life almost, as soon as I could recognize what this was. And this is like a huge reason why. And just this video in general, it's like, it is so therapeutic for me to just be able to be myself and be honest. And I think my ability to be honest with myself and reflect, and the way that I speak, I think it helps me. And I know that it helps people because I've been doing this my whole life with other people. So I think just being able to use my scars and my trauma and my pain, and just my ability to transform it, and my communication and my gratitude and my strength, just to be able to show you guys, like, it all gets very deep, but there's always a way to like make it better. And today this was the way for me to make it better. So thank you for listening. I'm really grateful for everyone who watches my videos. We finally hit 50 prescribers. We finally hit 50 subscribers, and I waited for it to go up a couple more just in case someone decided to click the unfollow, so I wouldn't drop down below 50 after celebrating it. But I'm really grateful for every single person that gives any amount of energy, even if you just watch the beginning, and for everyone who likes and subscribes and comments. I really am grateful for you guys. And yeah, I hope maybe this, it's embarrassing to wake up and tell people, like, I had a hard time waking up today. Like, I could not get out of bed. Like, I did not want to be here today, like, awake. Like, I just wanted to sleep through my whole day, and I didn't want to participate. I can't find the energy to participate, even though I want to and I feel like I have to. It's really hard to just tell people that and be honest, especially when you're someone who's always been a people pleaser, an overachiever, like maxing themselves out every day to get the most out of life and to get themselves in a place where they are safe, loved, and deserving of everything and abundant and everything. It is very hard to admit that. And I just like but I felt like I was being put under this pressure this morning. Like I was frantically like, I need to talk to somebody. And I was just like, I'm just gonna shut myself in this room and I'm just gonna turn on my camera and I'm just gonna record. And wherever this goes, I didn't even know what I had to say, really. I didn't know how I was gonna say it. I didn't know what was gonna come out. I didn't know what was appropriate to come out, but at the end of the day, this is what I felt like I should do. And hopefully, maybe it's because somebody needed this. And even if nobody did, I think that I needed this. And I think that there's so many points in this video that could be helpful to anybody. So yes, thank you guys for watching. And yeah, I hope everyone can find the strength to become more of who they want to be with their day, and they can gain some momentum to do the things that they know that they love and want to do. And I know that today is just a day. It will be different tomorrow. I could wake up tomorrow feeling so much different. It just is a healing process. Healing is not linear, so just keep that in mind. Okay, bye. I love you guys.